and Woody likes the crooked cock.
It's a lot of fun.
Have you ever been doing, this is totally different, but have you ever been like researching a conspiracy or something wild for a video, and you're like, after a few hours, days, whatever, you're like, oh, this is getting a little too real and wild. Not this one. Let's find a different one.
Yes,
what are some examples of that? If you
so the one that really like did me in was I went really down all the Epstein stuff when that happened.
Yes, yeah.
And this was before like I did the YouTube stuff. I was just like, is it really that bad? And then I remember like getting legitimately depressed. I got so into that. I got so into looking where money was going. I got so into who owned these places, who like went where. I just got depressed because I'm like, man, it really is everyone, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that it was like people joke about like, oh, the black pill. I remember being like, wow, everyone is evil everywhere. That is so sad. I remember like having to step away from that and just kind of take a moment to like reevaluate myself.
Yeah.
But like I've come to peace with it now. Of like, you know, my worth isn't reliant on those who have greater faculty or power above me or whatever. But man, I tell you what, that was sad. That would be the big one. There's been some other minor ones that I've like sort of like dabbled in that I'm like, I don't know how much more of this I want to find out about. One of them was the Benghazi stuff. I got really into that more recently, like in the past year. And I remember researching that and being like, this is depressing.
Yeah.
Because it's not like I don't come up with the stuff like, aha, everyone who's in charge of us is evil people, whatever, and be like, I figured it out. It's just like, well, dang it.
You're just selling it like it was.
Yeah, pretty much like, man, whatever.
You're just I didn't know there were this many pedophiles.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess I'm gonna go walk in the woods now. So.
That is funny, like how the Epstein thing.
Real quick. I'll be right
back. When it first came out, people were like, right, so there's just a bunch of pedophiles in positions of power all over the world. And then you look into it and it's like, wow, there are pedophiles in positions of power all over the world.
I heard that was used to control each other. It was like that it was I mean, you would probably have heard this at some point or something, but it was used as a means to control each other. Like you are in the circle of trust because we have all committed this heinous, disgusting act. And so it is used as a means of controlling each other and committing to the team because you're all disgusting people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mutual blackmail.
We had a similar
it's like if we go down, you're coming with us. So you better do what we say.
I remember where I live in Tennessee now, but I'm originally from like Eastern Kentucky, like in the coal country of it. And there's a lot of gangs around, like before my time mainly, but like during my dad's time and all that, the gangs or the Mountain Mafia, as they were called, were real popular whenever they were breaking up picket lines and there were shootouts everywhere. And part of the deal was whenever there were new initiates, they did a lot of stuff like blew up bridges, blew up coal trucks, stuff like that. If they were to ever like shoot something or blow it up, they would find some way for everyone's hand to be on it. Like if you show up, you are going to shoot the vehicle or you're going to have some part in place in it because the first time you have to be like mutual blackmail and that just scales up. So like for a bunch of guys in the mountain, it's shooting up a coal truck. For like, you know, Hillary Clinton, it's eating a baby. It's just a natural.
Yeah, it's wild. It's the world is like I'm not nearly as into
weird
it
timeline,
but like it gets depressing when you like look into some stuff where it's like, oh man, people are genuinely very cruel to one another, and that makes me sad.
I remember I used to be like in high school, I was I think I got like most likely to be president, some superlative, and I was on a bunch of debate teams and stuff like that. And I was like really into politics, and then that happened, and I just like. I was like, I'd never want to look at someone in a suit ever again. Like it really did poison me to a point of bitterness for a while. Like I said, I'm better now. But yeah, you asked like what was the one that hit too deep? That one really hit too deep. Yeah,
it makes sense. That's a good answer. I was expecting something like that, like where you just get it's like you stare too long into the abyss and it begins to stare back into you. You spend all this time obsessing about and reading about something that is horrific. and then you start to be like, man, little bits of my soul are like flaking off as I'm reading this. Like I'm becoming actively more cynical by
there's
by
also
this.
this like, not just with that specifically, but with a lot of like grander conspiracy, like stuff like the MLK assassination or JFK or whatever. There's this sense of hopelessness or like just inability of action. Like, oh, what am I going to do? Catch these guys? Or no matter how many people I tell, it's not going to get better, right?
Yeah.
And that leads to a sort of, I guess it can lead to nihilism if someone sits in it for too long. But like I said, it's just got to be something that you kind of recognize. It doesn't define you just because it's happening and you can't do anything about it. You're not your inactions. But yeah, I had an entire soul searching thing over the Epstein stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Are you still like following any of the Ghislaine stuff as that was going on?
Yeah. I've got my own theories about all that. I don't. It's kind of like a train wreck, but the train wreck's halfway done. Like, you know, like the front car hit and everything crashed, and it's not like, well, I hope the back of the train will stop doing that. No, it's just going to keep piling up over and over. I kept up with it, but not as much as I did originally, because like I said, you can't, or at least I can't, super invest my time. Like, man, I hope justice is served, because I know the answer, and it's just going to make me sad again. Yeah,
it's not going to be served. And it's funny. Like at first, like so many people are like, "Oh, this isn't happening. There's no pedophile island." And then now, like some of those same people are like, "We got him. The two people on Earth who were doing this, we got them. Don't worry, guys. This was a one-off. It's never going to happen again. It's certainly not happening with other individuals as we speak right now. We got them, everyone. Mission accomplished." It's like, it's like I don't know. Yeah, it's literally like Bush on that fucking destroyer.
Two people. Yeah.
Well, that thing we said was a conspiracy lie for years was true. Thankfully, the only two individuals globally involved in this have been caught. One of them killing himself when a camera misfired and a bunch of people who didn't work there found their way into his fucking cell.
What if that's the way they said he died? That the camera that was recording him exploded and killed him.
That'd be a little bit more obvious.
He was electrocuted by the camera. Oh, do we have that on film? Well, think about that one. Why are you asking tough questions? All right.
The conspiracy would be a little more obvious.
He was a terrible person at hanging himself and bruising and breaking that many ribs. Like,
I mean, what, had he never done it before?
Well, the guy who ended up doing it, at least according to McAfee, before he also CO'd himself.
Okay.
That guy was a.
Well, hold on. I got an okay from Kyle. Go ahead. What was that?
Well, I mean, all right. McAfee was
he was on the show.
No.
He's a goof.
I didn't know that he was on the show. That's interesting. No, I'm not. I'm not saying that he was murdered. I do think that he did commit suicide.
He did.
Being sarcastic. I wasn't being sarcastic on that one. I literally meant he did CO himself.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the guy that McAfee tweeted and was like, "This is the guy in the jail," which he was right. The dude who was a former cop in New York was the one who was. You remember how Epstein was like almost strangled a week before he died?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that guy did get like moved and separated and all that, but then they kept him in the same jail and like on the same cell block or whatever. And he was a couple cells down whenever the cameras went out. Mm-hmm. And like the room that Epstein died in was previously that guy's room. So it's like, oh, of course it's going to have DNA and fingerprints and, you know, blood and whatever all over the place. Yeah, I went down the rabbit hole, stuff like that. It really, it hurt a lot. Yeah.
It's interesting.
Kyle, are you okay? You look.
I don't know. The whole thing is a lot to take in. Like the Epstein thing in particular is weird. I don't know if it's as crazy as we think though. Like how old were those girls? Like that's always something. Like when I think of like the global cabal of pedophiles, I don't think about guys who are like sneaking away from their wives to meet a 15-year-old girl, which I think is like what the Epstein stuff was. Like
there was a bunch of stuff. Like we don't know the extent of the Epstein stuff. I'm sure there was a gamut of underages.
It really seems like they were like what Epstein was into and what like everything I've heard, like it seems like they were all like kind of borderline, like 15, like because 16 is like the age.
It's actually technically not pedophilia. That's called hebophilia, if I'm not mistaken, which is like an attraction to young teenagers.
Yeah, we've clarified that before.
There's no way to like
I think
bring
it's
up the
important
term hebophilia without sounding like a pedophile.
Yeah,
literally, that's all I'm thinking right now. Is like this entire conversation goes down one path, and that path makes us all look like pedophiles.
Actually, the N-word just means noob.
We're taking it back.
We're taking it back. Oh my god,
we're taking it back.
I only know it because of a history of incarceration.
It's our
it.
word.
And studying the law.
We get to decide what it means, not you.
That's so funny.
I ended on that note. I love the wordplay.
That was the best shit I've ever heard.